I can just walk through everyone a little bit about who we are. Yep. So just in a nutshell, so I am Dr. Lopamudra Dasroy, founder of Breast Cancer Hub, and our vision is save lives by awareness, volunteering, education, and research. And the primary focus is breast cancer in women and men. So that's the reason why you see the strands of blue on our logo, and four ribbons together means we all coming together for the cause, which is the cause of cancer. We stand together against all cancer through our Breast Cancer Hub wings, which is Cancer Hubs. Our mission is early detection and prevention because we believe that early detection is the key to the survival. We do a lot of cancer screening camps and awareness community outreaches across, and now we are mostly focusing on the US and India for sure. And then we are expanding to other countries, like we are collaborating with Africa too. So our other primary projects are the village adoption, so door-to-door screening, treatment, and management. We started the village adoption in February, and just this month we adopted 6 more villages, and we are really happy to do that because we take accountability of each patient. So that's how we function from end to end, taking care of the cases. But we have a patient treatment aid for the financial support for the underprivileged. Our research is focused mostly on the untapped areas, mostly now on the epidemiological study, but or clinical data analysis, but trying to represent the scenario in the developing countries where like many remote areas where we don't even know what is going on. So tapping the untapped is our research goal. We do a lot of counseling, scientific counseling. I provide it through my whatever knowledge I have on the field of breast cancer and other cancers. And our support group is amazing. We have a breast cancer hub support family, which is a very private WhatsApp group. And all our speakers here today, our survivors, our winners, they all are an integral part of our support family. We function, we are there for each other, but we do not speak about it in the social media. So that's how we are. We are integrated as one family. We have a lot of leadership programs. I'm involving a lot of students, and we want them to execute and basically translate the information about early detection, then prevention and early detection of cancer. So they are our leaders in Breast Cancer Hub. We are a global family. We bridge the gap between the developed and the developing world. And strongly, we stand against discrimination of color, religion, language, and culture. And we serve everyone with equality, but we have one goal. We believe that we save a life, we save a family. And that's what Breast Cancer Hub is all about. So saying that, I would like to, let me just stop sharing my screen. So saying that, I would like to welcome each of you here for your time today on a Sunday. And we cannot be more grateful. Of course, we are very honored to have our esteemed speakers for your time and for your valuable insights, which will be so motivational because each of you are, you all are heroes for us because survivors, our doctors serving the community. Thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge today. Equally, I'm so thankful to all our esteemed guests, our participants for being here on a Sunday and supporting the cause and coming to listen to us on breast cancer in women and men. So our first speaker is, of course, because as Sherry mentioned, this is Male Breast Cancer Awareness Week, and we couldn't be, no one else could have graced us today, but Bret Miller, who is the co-founder for Male Breast Cancer Coalition and also the founder of Bret Miller IT Foundation, and an amazing person. And I cannot tell you, we have been working together for the last 2.5 years. So Peggy and Sherry, we have always with male breast cancer, they are our resource. So anyone you meet with male breast cancer, all across, we come from diverse culture, all different countries. Please, they are amazing organizations. So a big shout out to Male Breast Cancer Coalition and saying that the forum is all yours, Bret, to open the session. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. And first, just want to thank my mom, Peggy, and Cherry for everything that they do behind the scenes. The coalition would not be where it is without you. I'm just a pretty face to share the story and tell my story, but the hard work of them is where we're at today. Especially, today starts off Male Breast Cancer Awareness Week, as Sherry said, in 45 states. That's all because of Sherry's hard work in writing letters to each state to proclaim this week as Male Breast Cancer Awareness Week. Our biggest goal is to get the awareness out there for that men can get breast cancer. We're not saying that you will, but we're saying that it's possible you can. So be aware of your body, be your own best advocate. And if you feel a lump, get to a doctor. And don't settle for that. Oh, it's nothing. It's just it's a calcium buildup or it's a cyst and it'll go away, because that's what I did for 7 years. I was 17 when I first found my lump. It was directly below my right nipple, and it wasn't until I was 24 when I was officially diagnosed, because I was told by doctors that it was a calcium buildup. I was going through puberty, it would dissipate and go away. So I didn't think much of it until I finally went to go get a physical at age 24. And I had to ask the doctor to look at it, because doctors don't perform breast exams on men and physicals. And he was almost out the door. Like, he had completed everything for the physical and then come back in, and or I had stopped him, and he came back in and kind of looked at it, and he immediately set me up for a sonogram, which then I was sent to what I didn't know was the women's clinic at the time. I was just given the address for the imaging center to go to. So walking into a women's clinic, being greeted by name, having to answer if I was pregnant or menstruating based on what the questionnaire is, all of that information is just what we're trying to, kind of brace men for. It is a predominant women's disease. We get it, but we're just trying to make sure that as a male, hearing the words "you have breast cancer," that it's not as emasculating as it sounds. It's what the terminology is. So it's being comfortable with that terminology and speaking out, because if you have a voice, you get heard and you get the help that you need. So it led to a mammogram as well, and which I didn't know was possible for a male, but it is. It's not the best feeling in the world, but it ultimately ended up being the better scan for the doctor to lead to taking the lump out. And then I got the call that it was breast cancer. The doctor said that he would read the report in 3 to 5 days and then get back to me once he fully, got it done, and that was it. And hung up the phone. We changed doctors because of the bedside manner of that doctor. And it wasn't until the next surgeon, Dr. Lon McCroskey, that talking to him of him actually performing a mastectomy on a dozen men before, but that they would take time off work, perform the surgery, and then go back to work like nothing ever happened, not talk about it. He said that he saw something in me, that if I was willing to share my story, that I could help other men. If I, as young as I was, being able to, comfortable with what it was, it was at the time that I was finally getting comfortable with my diagnosis and understanding what's going on, that he said that if I was willing to share my story, he saw me being a face, or now it feels like the face of male breast cancer at times, which it's an honor. There are so many more men out there that are still sharing their story as well. And I'm happy that they're out here fighting this battle with me. But, so I had a mastectomy. Luckily, it only ended up being a single mastectomy. The morning of my surgery, my doctor got a call from his friends at Johns Hopkins and MD Anderson telling him not to treat the surgery, not to treat men just like women. So I didn't need the double mastectomy, only do the single. I ended up opting to do 4 rounds of chemotherapy because of the Oncotype DX test. The way that the test works, it tests the tumor on the genomic level, and they have all this data, the ridiculous amount of data. We went to their lab several years ago, and it's just amazing. But it said that if I did, or I had a 22% chance of cancer coming back over a 10-year period based on the way that the tumor was and all this data they had. And if I did chemotherapy as well as either tamoxifen or Arimidex, that it would reduce my chances by 10%. And I'm just thinking, what can I do to eliminate any possibility of cancer coming back at any given point in my life? I'm not saying that I'm completely rid of it, but the lower chances, the better. So I did the 4 rounds of chemotherapy, and I started on tamoxifen. I was on it for about a month. The side effects on it weren't the greatest, and my oncologist switched me to Arimidex. I am currently 10 years out from my diagnosis and feeling great. I've got a family of my own started now, little daughter, Riley Sue, who is quite the character. I am in trouble because she's just like her mom, but I couldn't be happier. And like I said before, I can't thank my mom and Sherry enough for doing everything. And Lopa, thank you for always thinking of the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. We're working towards, we're making some changes. We now have the hospitals in the Midwest that are including men in the breast the women's clinics, because they're getting the questionnaires that are directed towards men, and not just one that's just women, and you have to answer only just a few questions. With a lot of them with the HCA Midwest, we created our breast self-exam cards, as well as partnering with the Breast Cancer Hub. We have them on our website, and they're in over 15 different languages. So if you have any questions, go to the malebreastcancercoalition.org or breastselfexams.org. And just remember that, as the shirt says, men have breasts too. Our biggest thing is trying to get inclusiveness for men. It's not a women's disease, it's a people's disease.
Yes, wonderful. I mean, so well said, Bret. Thank you so much. It was so inspirational. And I must tell you, like, because of Bret and because of Male Breast Cancer Coalition, other men are finding voice now. And that's why the support system is so important. And now men are talking about it. And it's all hats off to Male Breast Cancer Coalition. Really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational journey with us. And as you said, right, it's though the statistics say 1 out of 883 men, but that one man may be a father, a son, or a brother. So it's about one life, not about the statistics. It's about each life counts for us. So thank you so much. And as we go now to our next speaker is Melissa Golding, who is from London, our breast cancer warrior. Over to you, Melissa. You are on mute, Melissa. You have to unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
Better?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Bret. That was really inspirational. Thank you for sharing your story with us all. So yeah, I'm 49. I live in London. I've been married for 22 years and I have 2 sons that are 20 and 15. So I wanted to talk to you about self-examination because I'm ashamed to say it's something that I never did. I just would see adverts in magazines, I might watch something on the telly, but I honestly never thought I would be someone that would get breast cancer. I don't even get a cold, so honestly thought I'm too well to be able to get something like that. But about 8 months ago, I just had a bit of discomfort. It wasn't really painful. I just felt a bit of discomfort. And I decided to just feel around on my breast. And I found a tiny lump. And it really was a tiny lump. It was 12 millimeters. And initially, I put it down to being hormonal. But I kept thinking about it and decided I needed to act upon it. So luckily for us in the UK, you can get an appointment at a doctor's surgery very quickly. And I saw my doctor that day, and they do something that says it's called a 2-week referral. So if they think it's cancer, you get seen within 2 weeks. And so very quickly, I was with a consultant who had a bit of a prod around and then just told me he thought I was a bit lumpy, nothing to worry about, but he was going to send me for a routine mammogram. And I went for that day, and I came home and I felt actually quite relieved because I thought, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. But that was a little bit short-lived because the next morning I got a phone call to say, please, will you come back in? We need to do some more testing. And there I was a couple of days later for another mammogram and an ultrasound and a biopsy. And when I left the room, the radiographer had said to me, we'll have the results in a week's time and then we'll be able to make a plan. And so I left thinking, that's just not a normal thing to say. And so for me, I probably knew at that point that I definitely had breast cancer. But not wanting to be a drama queen, I kind of internalized it all and just became really good friends with Dr. Google at 3 a.m. in the morning, because that's all I could think about. I couldn't sleep. It was probably one of the worst weeks of my life. But that week went by and finally I was back there with that doctor who was much nicer to me the second time round. And he had two nurses with him. And I suppose when you walk in and you see the two nurses smiling as well, you know what they're about to say. And so I had a grade 3 tumour, had spread to my lymph nodes, but it was all very treatable and very curable. And he talked about surgery and chemo and radio. And I suppose you feel overwhelmed with all that knowledge, even though I thought I'd done all this research and I thought I was going in prepared. Nothing quite prepares you for what someone's going to say. So I think when I left that day, I just knew that I had to be strong. I'm not saying I didn't cry. Of course I cried at the time, but there was another part of me that thought, this isn't going to beat me. I've got so much more to give, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make the best of what I can, what situation I'm in. So, I came home and I phoned people. When I phoned people and told them, because don't forget, we're just about to go into a pandemic as well. So you couldn't actually go and see anyone. Everything was done by phone calls or text, which seems really impersonal. And when I did phone people, they'd say to me, I think you're in shock because you just seem so calm. And I was really calm, and I was calm because I just kept thinking it could have been worse. Like I'm having a lumpectomy, I could have been having a mastectomy. I've got cancer in one breast, not both breasts. And yeah, it spread to my lymph nodes, but it could be in my lungs. There was always some reason or something to make me think that it was going to be okay in the end. And I had to look on the bright side of everything. And, I've been so lucky because I've still had surgery, chemo, radiotherapy, which I finished about a month ago now. So I've had all of that treatment in 6 months. In 6 months, I've had everything done. But I suppose for me, I just tried to look at the fun aspect. And I know that sounds crazy, but I had very long hair and I decided very soon on I was going to have it cut into a bob because I'd always wanted to do that, but I'd never been brave enough to do that because I'd always thought, what if I hate it? But I'd cut it into a bob. And when I knew my hair was going to fall out after that chemo, even though other people try and tell you, oh, maybe it's not going to happen to you, it's going to happen to you. So you've got to be brave and do it. So I went for a buzz cut like it is now, in fact, shorter probably. And when I came to choose my wig, I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to recreate my hair. Let's go with a pink wig. I would never have normally had pink hair, so let's just have pink hair. So I just tried to look at the fun side of things in any way that I could. The other thing that I did is I started an Instagram blog, and to be honest, I'm quite a private person. It was never something that would have occurred to me. It was just that I felt very desperate as we were in a pandemic and I had been diagnosed, and it occurred to me there must be other people in this situation. So I started an Instagram blog, and it's honestly been one of the best things I've done because I've had so much support from so many people, but I've also been able to offer support. And it's not just breast cancer, it's all different cancers. There's a massive cancer community on there. So, if you're thinking about doing that, I would definitely say to do it. I've had no negativity whatsoever from it. So that's a bit about me. I'm absolutely passionate now about spreading awareness of getting yourself checked every month. Make sure you do it, because I never did, and I'm just lucky. But put it in your diary, put it on your phone, do what you do. But if you're worried about anything, and like Bret said, if you go to the doctor and you say you're worried about something, they need to be worried too, and they need to check it out properly, and don't get fobbed off with anything. Thank you, Dr. Aper, for your time. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me. Please follow my story on Instagram if you want to know a bit more about me. It's my name. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. And you kind of showed all of us really that, how we need to be positive, and how you drove your energy towards something very creative, like going with the Instagram blog and just like setting examples for others. Amazing. Hats off to you, really.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much. And our next speaker is Nakiera Crenshaw Shipp from Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. And thank you, Nakiera, for joining us today. And yes, please go ahead and share your story, your journey. We all are here to listen to you.
Hi, Dr. Lopa, for having me. So I discovered my lump myself doing my at-home breast exam. I was about maybe 6 months pregnant at the time. And when I found it, I thought, maybe it's no big deal. And then a week later, my husband mentioned to me that he noticed, looking at my breast, that there is a change in my breast. So I thought, okay, if he sees it, I need to get it checked out. So about a week or so later, I had an appointment with my OBGYN, and she looked at my breast and she said, I definitely noticed a change. We're going to refer you to have it looked at. So I went and got an ultrasound done. And at the time of getting the ultrasound, they told me that, you're pregnant, your body is changing. So it appears to be a clogged milk duct, and that just do warm compress on my breast and that it would go away. So after a few weeks doing the warm compress, it wasn't going away. And then I started having bloody discharge from my nipple. So I knew then that I definitely had to go back to get it looked at again. So after having my son, I went back to get my breast examined, and I was able to get a mammogram at that time. I got the mammogram. They were still unsure, told me to come back to get a biopsy. Got a biopsy done, and then I got the results that I had stage 0 DCIS breast cancer in my right breast. And at the time of receiving the diagnosis, it was devastating. Of course, when you hear you have breast cancer, you automatically assume I'm gonna die. At the time, I was 32, and I knew I had a daughter. I didn't want to die. I wanted to be here. So we went over everything. I had a single mastectomy on my right side. They tested the lymph nodes. Everything was negative with the lymph nodes. I got clear margins. And so my surgery was February the 12th. And at that time, I became cancer-free. So after that, I was looking into having reconstruction done on my breast because, again, I'm 32 and I didn't want to walk around with a single breast. And so I decided to have the D-flap done, which is where you take the belly fat from your belly and they use that to reconstruct your breast. So I had that done, and everything has been going good from that. So again, my diagnosis, it was stage 0 DCIS. It was behind my nipple. So they took my nipple as well at the time of me having my single mastectomy. It was estrogen positive. As of right now, I'm not on any hormone blockers. I didn't have to have chemo. I didn't have to have radiation because everything was strictly behind the nipple, strictly in my ducts. So I'm thankful for that. I was told that later in life, when I'm closer to 40, I may have to do hormone therapy or hormone blockers, being that the cancer was estrogen positive. But as of right now, I get mammograms and ultrasounds done every 6 months to stay on top of everything. And so far, everything is going good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nakiera. Like, what a challenging situation you faced, right? And then how you took it over, and now you are cancer free. And that's why early detection is the key. And we need to be on top of it and vigilant and do our breast self exam definitely every month. Thank you for sharing your inspirational journey. It's going to help so many women out there, trust me. So thank you very much. On the same loop, our next speaker is Anindita Chowdhury, who is also special correspondent at the Statesman. And Anindita is from Hyderabad, India. Thank you, Anindita, for joining us. And yes, the platform is all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Lopa. And hi, everybody. I'll start with my journey. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, and I was 42 at that time, and I felt that history was repeating itself just 22 years later because my mother had died of ovarian cancer, and my mother's elder sister, my aunt, had breast cancer. So with this kind of family history, I always knew that I may get cancer. But my mother died at the age of 52, so I thought I still have some time, but then cancer has its own timeline. um, while doing the monthly breast self examination, I suddenly noticed a lump, and then but the lump was soft, and it when I pressed it, it moved away. So I thought I should wait for a few days, but then it disappeared. 2 months later, the lump came back, and this time it was much harder, and I just knew something was wrong by that time. So I met my gynecologist, who had sent me to an oncologist. We had a battery of tests done, biopsy was done, and finally we found that it was malignant. I was HER2 positive, so I went through the usual chemotherapy, and I had to take Herceptin and radiation. But the more important thing I want to talk to you is why it was doubly traumatic for me, because I also tested positive for BRCA1 test, which is a genetic testing, and I found that it was much more traumatic when that report came in, more than the biopsy report, because now was a possibility that I may have passed that gene to my 13-year-old daughter. And it, it was it was immensely stressful. I can't explain it how stressful it was while I was going through my chemotherapy. And I used to hound my doctor. I was, kind of going through a depressive state, because I felt, why should I go through this painful treatment, because that cancer can come back, and what am I doing? Why did I pass it? It might be passed on to my daughter. So it was very, very difficult time, but somehow my doctor held my hand, and he helped me to understand. And I just thought that I would not go down without a fight back. I wanted to fight cancer. Having said that, today, when people talk to me as a cancer survivor or a conqueror or a victor, I really don't know. I stumble at that point, because I feel that the cancer may come back. So have I really beaten cancer? I don't know. But living under that shadow of cancer can be very, very difficult. And it can be very difficult if you think about your daughter. We need to break this cycle. That is something I always feel. And I'm not the only one. Recently my friend was also diagnosed with breast cancer, and she even and her mother had died of an aggressive form of breast cancer. And even before her biopsy report had come, she had decided she will only opt for palliative care, because she had seen her mother dying a very painful death. And thankfully it came, she's just between stage 1 and 2, and it's treatable. She will be cured, we all hope, that way. But now she has gone for BRCA1 and BRCA2 test for genetic testing, and now she's worried about her daughter, what will happen. So this is something that we have to I mean we need a lot of counseling for that BRCA1 and 2 tests. And you don't really want your daughter or your niece or anybody to have that disease, to live under that shadow. And my even Lopa had asked me to get my brother tested. I have not been able to convince him. He prefer. I maybe someday he will be convinced, but it is very, very traumatic. And to break that cycle, we don't have. What do you do if you ask a 21-year-old girl to, go for BRCA testing? How will she decide? How will her life affected by that decision? So all these things make it much more traumatic for us. But the only way we can stay ahead of cancer, I think, is possibly to self-examination. That's the only way we can stay. I can teach my daughter that you need to do it, you need to stay safe, and that's the way to go ahead. Anyway, cancer has somehow made me stronger. I think nowadays I catch hold of practically strangers and talk to them about self-examination. They may think that I'm pretty weird, but I have decided that that is going to be the purpose of my life in future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anindita. I mean, so Braca mutation, right? And what emotional turmoil the family goes through with this mutation. And the way you brought it up is exemplary, because I always feel, as you said, right, to be on top of it. You just have to be so proactive and also think in that way, Anindita, like there are so many other diseases, like it runs in the family too, like kidney disease. I lost my dad to kidney disease. And, I mean, there's no cure to that. And even when you're having it, you can't do anything about it. It's high blood pressure. And so I think it on the other side, like I know equally you're facing the same turmoil, but at least if we detect early, we can save and we will be on top of it. So counseling is so important and you are doing the right thing. You're not weird. You are the person who is making the change. So thank you for that. Yes, thank you so much. And our next speaker is our oncologist on the panel, Dr. Gayatri Gogoi. Dr. Gayatri Gogoi is the Assistant Professor of Pathology, Nodal Officer, Cancer Care at Assam Medical College. Thank you, Dr. Gogoi, today for your time, and we are really looking forward to your presentation. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Gogoi. If you are mute, Dr. Gogoi, you have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Lupa. To say something to Anindita, Dr. Lupa is right. You are a conqueror. There is no question. Because listening to you all as a doctor, I could realize everyone has your own story, and we learn from you, because cancer has so many different dimensions. Esteemed panelist of today's meeting, BCH fights breast cancer in women and men. And hello, everyone joining this meeting. Let me first thank Dr. Lupa, who is founder president of Breast Cancer Hub. She has been doing a phenomenal job by this knowledge network, connecting people and supporting people across many countries in a tremendous way. Thank you for giving me the privilege joining this meeting. I'm going to share.
You are muted, Dr. Gayatri. Dr. Gogoi, you are muted. So you have to unmute. Yeah.
Yes. Is it all right now?
Yes, we can see you.
I will share something. Yes, it is about breast cancer scenario in India, early detection, with a special focus of Northeast. I belong to Northeast, and as well as Dr. Sabitha is from Assam, Northeast. Why I'm highlighting India and Northeastern region? When the global trend is 4 out of 5 breast cancer cases survive beyond 5 years of diagnosis, in India, it is 1 in 2 cases survive. When average age of diagnosis in your cases, that is the average age I'm talking about, over 60 years. In India, it is below 50 years. And when in USA or UK, you have mandatory system of mammography and PEP screening for females, and it is under insurance coverage. It is in India, the problem it is self-driven screening, and it is out-of-pocket expenditure generally. So it is the facility for the privileged one who can afford. And you are treated by oncologists according to standard oncology guideline. Here in India, we have very, very limited dedicated cancer hospitals. So 70% of our women are treated by non-oncologists in non-oncology center in bits and pieces. India displays a 4 to 5-fold variation across the country according to our Indian Council of Medical Research data. And it shows in the Northeast, it is the highest, and other metros like Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, New Delhi, etc. And it varies from 14 to 30%, and the cause of variation we do not know. Another alarming trend in India, though incidence rate in India, rural India is low, but mortality incident ratio could be as high as 66.7. Coming to breast cancer health burden, most of you know, it is 2018 Globocan data. It shows lung cancer is the leading cancer in the world, followed by breast cancer. And mortality-wise, lung cancer is still the topmost cancer, and breast cancer drops down to 5th position, which is a brighter side for females. In India, irrespective of gender, if you can see the slide, it is the breast cancer, followed by lip and oral cavity cancer, and lung cancer in the 4th position, which is again a better scenario for India. Now, when we talk about survival, it is according to stage. Like Nakiera, there can be a 0 stage. So it is absolutely normal survival if it is accurately stage 0 stage. Stage 1, absolutely brilliant, 95%, and it drops down to half of it in stage 3. So our objective is to diagnose breast cancer at 0 or stage 1. This is Indian map. We have 28 states and 8 Indian territories. If you see the green shaded area, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, Delhi, and this hanging area, if you see the green shaded area, it is Assam, where I'm talking to you now. And this is Northeast. The pink horizontal area is Assam, surrounded by Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, and Meghalaya. These 8 states are called as Northeast region. Coming to Assam, we have data according to our Indian Council of Medical Research, and this is my personal slide. We find that 36 years to 45 years are peak age group. It accounts to 63.4%. And mean age group 44 years. So we have breast cancer in women with mean age of 44 years, and which means they are majority premenopausal women. Will come little later whether the established risk factors of postmenopausal women are similar. Do we find these risk factors in these premenopausal women? Let us come to Northeast region now, and what is our cancer care scenario? In Northeastern region, we have 11 population-based cancer registry by which we know the type of cases, number of cases, and we have 5 crore population in Northeast region. In Assam itself, 3.5 crore, and 45,000 new cases diagnosed every year, and 70% diagnosed in advanced stage across all tumor types. And the worrisome scenario, even in breast cancer, more than 50% death occur in breast cancer within 5 years. Why so? It is due to lack of awareness about cancer, inadequate breast cancer screening. Instead of saying inadequate, there is no system of actually screening. Only when it is diagnosed, people come for treatment. And diagnosis of disease in advanced stage, unavailability of appropriate medical facilities. People do not have facilities in nearby areas, so they cannot travel. Aggressive biologic behavior probably contributed by young age, and we have more triple negative breast cancer. And hospital in Assam, one Dr. B. Burwa Cancer Institute, which is more or less comprehensive cancer center. giving the services under one roof, and one more located in Kasar Cancer Hospital, Charity Run Hospital. Dr. Samistha belonged to that area. And in other northeastern, 7 other northeastern states, we do not have comprehensive cancer care center. They have treatment, but it is again bits and pieces. When coming to our studies, we find that tumor size 2 to 5 centimeter, usually we diagnose. It is considerably large in size, then only we diagnose. And we have 34% cases triple negative breast cancer, whereas in global scenario, it is up to 25% triple negative cancer. This is one of my study. I was the leading investigator. We found 34% cases are triple negative cancer here. As you know, it has aggressive biologic behavior. We wanted to see the lifestyle and reproductive factors in these cases of premenopausal women. Basal metabolic index within normal range, you can see it is 22. This is up to 25. Number of children, they average have more than 2 children. Age at 5, first childbirth, it is 22 years. So quite a young age group. So we comment in these cases that whatever risk factors we know about postmenopausal women, those we did not see in premenopausal women. And because these are more than 90% cases, they belong to rural area and they are poor to average economic background. They cannot have luxury of sedentary lifestyle. Rather, they are physically active. They have early pregnancy. Invariably, they do breastfeed. Once they have child, they are normal weight. So these are the scenario. Now, National Center for Disease Informatics and Research is taking up survey on risk factors of cancer in Northeast as a pilot study. It is not, of course, only on breast cancer. It is overall cancer. Now, coming to the most important part. Now, as we all know, mammography is the gold standard for diagnosis, screening of breast cancer. However, in India, being a populous country, and as it cannot be taken as routine public health measure because of its cost. So it is not yet available. Those who can afford, they can avail that. And moreover, as we have you have seen, most of the cases less than 50 years and less than 40 years, mammography has very little value. So that is another problem in India. So what we advocate, screening by self-breast examination and clinical breast examination by healthcare worker coupled with ultrasonography, because ultrasonography is available in smaller pockets and cities, and it is useful for young women. So we advocate that, and moreover, like Anindita said, intense screening is required for high-risk women from families with history of breast and ovarian cancer. At the same time, with history of male breast cancer is very important. And there are studies which shows that this education to healthcare worker and clinical breast examination could be very useful, and it has 70% compliance rate according to one study. So most of the things rest on individual now. The responsibility belong to individual and community organization to mobilize, to generate, create awareness and go for screening. I'm associated with one organization, Protistruti Cancer and Palliative Trust. It has 2 helpline, and we have awareness and screening program whole through the year. And this is my organization, Assam Medical College. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gogoi. We are really honored to have you here. And this was wonderful. You know, how you did the comparative study from taking all across the world and then coming to downstream to Northeast India. And my dad is also from Assam Medical College, and I come from Assam. So I know the scenario. And so the villages we adopted are all in Assam. And so even to take like from 0% knowledge, now door to door, they have 100%, they're aware. They are now reaching out to us with any lump. But then to take them to the hospital is another challenge, because their daily wage is like 120 rupees, or which is like not even $2-3 if I convert it. So for them, that is all secondary, right? So, but how to motivate them and take them across. And I know I have been to Pratishruti in Dibrugarh, and amazing work, the Palliative Care Trust and everything you all are doing is really praiseworthy. Thank you for bringing all the challenges faced in India, and specifically in Northeast India. And we are definitely working towards, for a better future. And hopefully if we come together, we can really do it smoothly. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Sabitha Shekhawat. Sabitha is a principal consultant at Genpact Headstrong at Bangalore, and she's amazing. She also already advocates, for breast cancer, like awareness and early detection. And we would love to hear more from you, Sabitha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lopa, for giving me this opportunity, this platform where I can share my story. And I hope that it will be very helpful for the audience. I hope I am clear, I'm audible.
Yes, Sabitha, you are, absolutely.
Okay. So to start with, in my life, the first time I heard about cancer was when my father was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And it was very shocking, and I did a lot of research, and I figured out to whom I can reach out, and I found the doctors. Thankfully, my father was in very early stage, and he is doing very well. After that, within 1.5 or 2 years, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and again I reached out to the same doctor. She was operated, and she took treatment for almost a year, but unfortunately it was advanced stage and we lost her. And it was like we lost her, and 2-3 months later, when I was all alone, my husband and my son was in my native, I noticed that there was a discharge in my breast. I really got scared because all those memories where I lost my mom-in-law to the cancer, it all just came in front of me, that if it comes out to be the cancer, then what is going to happen? Maybe I may die, or all those thoughts were coming. I immediately went to gynecologist, but all those tests, whatever was referred by or wrote by doctor, a gyne doctor, nothing was there. And she said, you can wait for a month or 2 months and your discharge will settle down. I came home, and fortunately, there were some stories which I heard from my friends, like my friend's mom and my neighbor, that in their case, they have wasted almost a year when it was not picked up by the doctors. And they kept going here and there, and even in one case, even the surgery was done by the general surgeon, and later they got to know that it was the cancer. So those stories were sitting in my mind, and I thought, probably why not to go to oncologist and let's rule it out. Okay, doctor, my doctor is saying that nothing to worry, but I should not regret later. So I went to my oncologist, the same doctor, the same surgeon who in the past have operated my father and my mother-in-law, where I was a caregiver. When I met him, he's like, he wanted to know what went wrong. And I said, today I have come for myself. And then he checked, and he asked me that, you stay positive, everything will be fine, don't worry. And to me, the tests were written was first ultrasound. And I asked my doctor, why you are writing ultrasound? Why not mammogram? He said, no, you are very young and you have your breasts are dense, and I would recommend ultrasound, so it will be picked up. So that's the first learning that I want to share, is that ultrasound is sometimes needed and mammogram can miss. Because I recently got to know one of my friend where last year her mammogram was done, and this year I don't know exactly what has gone wrong in her case, but this year she has been diagnosed in the 4th stage. So it was really, so this is one thing where ultrasound plays an important role in dense breast, where I already hear from Dr. Rupa. She always advocate that we should always ask our doctor whether the breasts are dense and we should go for ultrasound. And I advocate that. Again, so when all these things were happening, I thought maybe I have picked up very early, I'm very quick, and I was feeling good about it. at the same, I was shocked, but I was thinking that my actions very, very quick. But later reports revealed that my case was like second ending or third starting. And then I thought that even I was so careful, I was so aware, and I'm reaching out to doctors, and it has reached to this stage. If I had been doing my self exam very regularly every month, probably I could have picked it up. Even though my this also came as as a self examine, because my gynae said that it's nothing, but I went home and I tried to self examine myself, and I could figure out there is a vague mass over there. That's how I reached out to oncologist. So, that's why I really advocate with Dr. Lopa on this all the platform wherever I'm going for the breast cancer awareness, that please, please, please keep this routine checkup, this habit of checking yourself every month, because maybe initial 2-3 months will not be knowing your body, but over the period you will get to know what is your body, and any small change will be picked up, and that can save life if it is picked up very early. So that's how it was, and my treatment included surgery, chemoport installation. I also had a reconstruction, and then 8 cycles of chemotherapy and 28 sessions of radiations. It was a very long period, 9 months, and if I say that I was positive all the time, definitely it was not that the case. I was crying someday, and again I was looking at my husband and my son. So I was diagnosed at the age of 36 when my son was 6-year-old. So I was looking at him and I was thinking about my husband who lost his mother just 3 months ago, and I was looking at my son because he was also a little aware about the term cancer can be very dangerous. So looking at them, that they are investing so much in me, and I have to be there for them. And even I used to calculate, okay, if God gives me 10 years, my son will be this many year old, and he will be independent. So that was my prayer before sleeping, that please God, give me these many years so that I can complete my all the responsibilities. And at the same time, I also thought that I have to work in awareness, because that's very important, and people should know that it doesn't discriminate. It can happen to anyone, because in my previous organization, when there was a awareness session, I was sitting, oh, breast cancer, okay, after 40 I will be doing my mammograph, nothing to worry, and it was so shocking when it happened to me that, oh, I mean, I was not thinking that it cannot happen to me, but I was thinking, not, I'm too young for it, like why I have to cross 40 and 45, then I will do mammogram, and then maybe in 50-60 this kind of disease may happen. So that's how I thought it's really important to work for awareness, and people have to understand not to go in denial, just accept it and go for the treatment. It's doable, it's not impossible, and positive attitude is definitely going to help, but it's okay to be depressed sometime. So that's my story. Yeah. And I'm working with Dr. Lopa on awareness session, or also I'm doing counseling for the patient, and wherever I'm getting opportunity, I'm going. If I'm not getting opportunity, I'm reaching out to people that, please, can we have this awareness session, please, like, I'm just begging, and if I'm getting the chance, I'm doing it. I feel if out of 100, if one person is hearing me seriously, and if it helps them, then that's what I want to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sabitha. And I totally hear you, because I am being made fun of so many times when I'll be like going to India, and then why is she doing this craziness, going to different places and talking about it, and I was ridiculed, but I just take it like I'm a rhinoceros skin. Nothing bothers me, and I'll just focus and be on the vision, because I know that this helps. And thank you for again emphasizing on the breast self exam, and in collaboration with Male Breast Cancer Coalition and Sarah Cannon Cancer Institute, we developed it in 18 languages. We have it on our website. Please download the language of your choice and circulate in your network the correct way, the correct protocol, and it goes like this. One side is for women and one side is for men. And I'm so thankful to our BCH volunteers who translated like 12 Indian languages now we have. So definitely please, because this is not a piece of paper, it's a life savior, and don't make fun of it, just take it seriously and spread it out. And even I request all the doctors also just to have this card on your chamber, on your clinic, and just give it out, And my dad used to be like being a pediatrician. My dad started this. He was giving out the breast self-exam cards to the patient's mom, and I request the pediatricians that just take it up. There's no harm in just giving it to the moms, because the moms are coming to the pediatricians with the trust that I'm giving my baby to you. So of course the trust is there, and then the moms will listen to them. So just spread the word, and this will really help, because early detection is the key. Thank you, Sabitha, for bringing this up again. And we are really enlightened by your talk. Our next speaker is Jessica Robertson. Jessica is a quality assurance specialist at a vaccine production in USA. And thank you so much, Jessica, for being here to share your journey with us. Over to you, Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Good morning or good evening, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Jessica Robertson, and I am honored that I was chosen to share my story with you all today. So I'll go ahead and start with how I discovered my cancer. So one evening, I was laying in bed. I felt an itch in my underarm, and it reminded me of self-breast exams. So I was familiar with them due to a shower hanger that my mom had in her shower growing up. The gynecologist used to hand them out. They had like little monthly punch things on them so you could keep track and make sure you were doing your exam every month. And so that's how I would always remember to do them, because I grew up with that in my shower when I was little. So I went ahead and performed a self-breast exam because it had probably been a while. I wasn't one to do it every month as I was very young, but when I think of it, I try to do it. And I felt a small pea-sized lump. I thought to myself, that's odd. Maybe it's a muscle knot or something. I'll check again later. So every day for the next week, I checked, and every time it was still there. So finally, I called my gynecologist and made an appointment. By the time the appointment actually rolled around, it had been about 3 weeks, and the bump felt as though it had grown 3 times in size, and it was painful. And you could now see it just by looking at my underarm. The doctor assured me that at 25, it was just a cyst. There was nothing to worry about, but we'll go ahead and do an ultrasound anyways, just to cover our bases. After reviewing the ultrasound, he said, yeah, it's just got to be a cyst. You're just too young. So I asked him to explain to me what he was looking at on the ultrasound and what the dark areas and light areas meant. As a scientist, it just didn't quite make sense to me. He said dark represents the fluid, white represents cells. Well, looking at the image, I inquired as to why my cyst appeared to be full of cells and not fluid. And he said, well, it's probably mucus, but I guess we can get it biopsied to be safe. So after several attempts to get into the biopsy clinic, they did another ultrasound to confirm that I really needed the biopsy. Because I was so young, they still weren't sure that that was something that needed to be done. As soon as the ultrasound was done, I was immediately asked to perform several mammograms. And finally, they asked me if I could do the biopsy that same day. Afterwards, the technician sat me down to talk with a nurse about when the results would be ready. Of course, at that point, I had a pretty good idea, because usually they don't sit you down in somebody's office to talk about when you'll receive a phone call with good results. So, I was pretty certain that the results weren't going to be great. 2 days later, I was diagnosed with grade 3 triple negative invasive ductal carcinoma at the age of 25. So let's back up a minute. One important part of this story is the timing of everything. So I was getting married in a month, and while there's never a good time to get cancer, being bald on my wedding day was not ideal. However, I took a deep breath, ordered an amazing wig, and proceeded to start chemotherapy just 2 weeks since the initial appointment, and a month and a half since I noticed the lump on my breast. Had I not done my self-breast exam, the rapid rate at which my tumor was growing probably would have prevented me from being here to speak with you all today. After completing chemotherapy, a double mastectomy, and subsequent reconstruction, I'm happy to announce that I'm considered cancer-free 1 year after completion of my chemotherapy. The takeaway here is that men and women of any age can get cancer, and doing your exams monthly helps you to know your body so you can speak up when something isn't right. Self-breast exams literally saved my life, and I hope it never has to save yours, but early detection is key when treating breast cancer. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to hear my story today.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. It was so amazing and inspirational. And I want to tell you this, and also you know that I have taken your permission. So your story with your wedding picture, I show that in India whenever I'm traveling. And I think those who have attended my session have seen Jessica's wedding picture. And that one picture speaks volumes when it's such a big taboo. You know, the breast word itself is a taboo, cancer is a taboo. And then, because I met women in India whose marriages got canceled, you know, because they got detected with breast cancer. And when I'm showing your journey, it's an eye opener. So you are an inspiration, and you are saving so many, you're helping me to break the taboo, because you are the real example. And thank you for doing this. And thank you for giving me the permission to share your story, you know, when I'm traveling. So that's wonderful. Thank you. And it's a huge learning lesson for all of us, that just at 25. So that's why I always advocate at 17 years, 18 years, start doing your breast health exam, because breast cancer doesn't discriminate nowadays with age also. You know, they can come at younger age. Thank you so much. And our next speaker is Dr. Nandini Shekhar, who is an AVP Swiss Ray from Bangalore, India, who is going to speak about her journey. And then we will go to our last speaker of the panel, Dr. Sharmishta Bhattacharya. We always say that we have to go to the gynecologist. So that's why we have the amazing person here. And so we would love to listen to our last two speakers. Over to you, Dr. Nandini. Thank you. Dr. Nandini, are you here?
Hi. Hi.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lupa, for giving me this opportunity to share my story. And if it helps anybody in sort of initiating the breast self exams or in early detection, I'll be really very glad. So to start with, I'm a dental surgeon working for a reinsurance company in Bangalore. I'm 42, and I have always thought myself as being a health enthusiast. I used to, I'm very regular with my walkings, yoga, with my reasonably healthy diet, my meditations or prayers. So I would always think probably I'm doing everything to have a healthy mind and a healthy body. Until one day with this, I realized that it's not sufficient. When I was 40, one of my friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer told us that, listen, we are all touching 40, so all of you will have to go to a screening mammo. But I have always been very regular with my annual health checks. From the past 10 years, I've been regularly getting annual health checks done, and I used to request my gynec to do a self-examination every annual check I go. And every time my gynec used to reassure me that you're fine. I don't have a family history of breast cancer, but then I just thought I should be a bit cautious. So doctor used to always assure me that I'm fine. And then early last year, I was working on breast cancer mortality studies as a part of my role in my office. I had worked on this topic for around 2 months, but then it didn't occur to me that I have to do my self-examination. I just didn't feel like. I mean, I didn't feel the need because I was getting myself checked every year. I thought that was sufficient enough. But again, by providence, suddenly one afternoon, I felt, let me just do it. Because I noticed that probably the slight change in the way of my nipple position, probably it's slightly inward or retracted. And then I thought probably I'm overthinking. I said, whatever, I'll just check. And then I just touched my left breast and I could feel it. I could feel a very small, hard nodule sort of a thing. Then I was aware of the texture that it's probably something that needs to be checked and not ignored. So 2 days later, I directly went into a cancer hospital, and then I told about my suspicions. doctor started examining me. After the initial examinations, I was ordered a mammo and an ultrasound. Mammo came clear, like you always mention, Lupa, in case of dense breast. Same, mammo didn't show up anything. But then after USG, the radiologist said there is a very small sub-centimeter suspicious lesion, but just suspicious. Let's do a biopsy. I had gone there alone that day, and I said, okay, fine, do a biopsy. Then they said, no, I can't do a biopsy when you don't have an attendant. You go back home and then come back on some other day with your attendant, and then we will do a biopsy. I was really very scared to talk about this at home. Not scared, but hesitant to talk about this at home, because I didn't want to basically agitate everybody without even knowing whether the diagnosis is right. I mean, it's confirmed or not. Then I took my sister along with me for my biopsy, and then when I went to receive the report again, I was alone. I went alone to take the report, and I saw the report, and I was like, okay, carcinoma. I had been working on the mortality studies from past 2.5 months, so I am aware of what it means. And but then what I didn't know at that stage was which stage is it in. So grade was mentioned, and the estrogen receptor status, everything was there. And then I went and spoke to my physician first, because again, there were conflicting views whether it would be surgery first and then followed by chemo. I went to my physician. My physician said, I will send you to a oncologist first, meet the medical oncologist. And I'm really fortunate to have the doctors that I had. And he said, no, though it seems to be a sub-centimeter, we will have to do, it appears to me that it is not a sub-centimeter lesion. The surrounding areas are already involved. Then the MRI showed that there are multiple foci. So then chemotherapy started, and after that surgery. And again, after histopath, I got a third surprise, like the levels of video game, right? It keeps changing. It keeps increasing. So the third surprise was that there were remnant cells. There was micrometastasis in not the level 1, not the level 2, but level 3 lymph nodes, which put my staging into 3C. Then I was like, okay, it's a sub-centimeter lesion. It wasn't there during my annual exams, and then within no time, it's like 3C. But then it was then that I discussed at home that yes, I have been diagnosed with this condition. Then I had to start my treatment immediately. Initially, I was very hesitant to talk to I told my husband, but then not my mom or my daughter. I was very hesitant to tell them. But then a few of my friends told, no, they convinced me. They said, no, they will be your strength. And when I told them, they all gave me the energy that I really needed at that time. So of late, what has happened to me is, or probably because of the entire 9 months of treatment, I'm sort of, I noticed that I've become slightly forgetful. So apologies that I'm reading through from my notes. I made some notes here and there. So throughout the therapy, what also helped me was my homeopath and my guide, who used to give me some medicines to sort of fight with the side effects. That helped me a lot. Thankfully, I didn't have any issues with diet, with my appetite, because of those medicines, and I could eat well. And there was no weight loss, and not just that, he used to actually strengthen me mentally, emotionally as well. So 6 months post primary treatment, after 2 quarterly examinations, follow-ups, I feel well enough to resume my almost normal activities, though I would have loved a little bit of more energy, but I think it's pretty reasonable what that I have recovered so far. A few points that I wanted to sort of stress were that no amount of exercise or healthy diet or healthy lifestyle can replace regular health checks, and no amount of regular health checks can replace breast self-examination. I've now understood the real value of breast self-examination. One other thing that I want to mention was that when I was diagnosed, then my physician told me that it's a good idea for you to continue working as long as you can go to work, as long as you can work, so that my mind keeps engaged elsewhere. And that was a very valuable decision, a very valuable advice. Second piece of advice I got was never to go into Google, never to go into any of these any of the media to just check what I am and what happens, and because that fills you with negativity, right? So the moment I was diagnosed, I
Dr. Nandini, I think her network. You all can hear me, right? Okay. Okay. So we'll just give a little bit of a few seconds, and maybe.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. You're back. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, it's probably the network.
Yes.
So
No
what I was telling was that it's absolutely very important to keep a positive attitude. So all the researchers trust your doctor, uh, uh, just believe in what they say, and then don't do your own research. I mean, not to a level that it induces negativity. So yeah, throughout my treatment period, my work and my work colleagues gave me such good company and encouragement and engagement, along with my family, that I have been able to recover so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nandini, Dr. Nandini, for your insights. And, it's so important, as you said, like to keep working because you need the diversion. And also, how important it is that, you cannot do. So, and also, I want to tell you one thing that please do not worry about. I mean, of course, you have to do your follow-ups, but stage 3C, I have met so many women, in India, in US, stage 3C, 11 years, 12 years, and they are doing good. So you just have to finish, do your targeted therapy or, continue with the follow-ups properly and have that positive attitude, which you already have, I know. And we all are here for you. We have a huge support system and we will hang in together. So that's totally fine,
Thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you.
And our last speaker of the panel, and as we all know that when we feel a lump, who do we go to? Our gynecologist, right? So we are so honored to have Dr. Sabitha Shekhawat, who is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist from Assam, India. Over to you, Dr. Sabitha.
Thank you, Dr. Lopa. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay. And good evening, everyone, or good morning, as it happens to be. Actually, I'm honored to be a part of the hub today, this evening. And, it is, in fact, it is good that I got a chance to listen to everyone before speaking. As we've already said, that everyone goes to the gynecologist. And yes, I'm honored that people do trust in me. But as Dr. Gogoi has pointed out, I stay in a part of the world and my country, which is a very remote corner. And the population out there is of the low socioeconomic status, obviously with very poor literacy and almost no self-awareness. I know you're adopting villages and you're doing your best for this place, but as Dr. Gogoi has mentioned, the entire Northeast has hardly any proper hospitals. Yes, Silchar is lucky, in fact, to have Dr. Kannan and his team, but yet it's a big challenge. So for us, prevention is the key word, and we do advocate. I know certain countries, developed countries, they are not much into this, but we still do believe that the only thing we can do is self-awareness, and awareness means self-examination. As all the warriors here who have gone to the battlefield and they've conquered the disease, this is for the people who needn't go to the battlefield. We want them before they even reach that stage. And for that, self-examination is a must. So as I told you, as a gynecologist, I'm honored that ladies bring their children, the daughters, even the daughters are conscious nowadays. If they feel a lump, they come. And then, yes, they come for the clinical examination. And maybe then only we can tell them that monthly examination is a must, because in many of the cases, it is not a malignancy. Now, one thing, I don't know, I've heard all the speakers, whether they were speaking about incisional biopsy or FNAC, I don't know. But one modality which I practice is ultrasound and FNAC, because as I have, as you know, in my part, mammography, routine mammography is not a policy of the government yet. And routine mammography, in certain cases, I think makes you complacent. You know that above 40 years, I'm going to have a mammography. So maybe these are the cases in which we miss the diagnosis. So anyway, that's a separate issue. I was talking about the awareness. So 5 key points as the Federation of the FOXI, as we say, Gynecological Society of India advocates, and I too say, first and foremost, you have to know your breast. If I do not know what is my normal structure, I wouldn't know what changes I am to look for. So knowing your breast is the initial part. So what knowing your breast means? Knowing the size, shape, the nipples. Now, talking about, retracted nipples, many ladies have it normally. So it's not necessarily so that if the nipples are retracted, that means something wrong is happening. But yes, if you did not have so, and now if you see that there is, there is inversion or there is a pseudo orange, like, orange peel appearance, some other things, then only you'll be able to diagnose that, yes, something is wrong. That means the initial thing is you have to know your breast. And if you know your breast, next you have to know what are the changes you're looking for, or you wouldn't have known that what you're looking for. I wouldn't go into details about the self-examination, as I understand you all have covered this already. But what I mean to say is, it's very important, that monthly examination. And routinely, usually it is advocated around 20 years of age, might be earlier, but at least 20. And then it is to be continued. Now, there are different the people say at 75 the mammogram stops and all. Of course, that's a different debate altogether, how long to continue, how not to continue. But early you have to start, and you have to continue this from late, say around 20 years and go on. So next, what you do is, when you know that this is my normal breast, and then you know what I'm going to look for: change in shape, color, position of the nipples. Then you come to the look and the feel. Just inspection is not enough. So then you go for the palpation. Palpation is a detailed thing. I'm sure you all have the breast examination cards, and everyone knows about that. And if they don't, we are ready to help them. But right now, this is not in my scope to speak about that. But first, knowing your breast, then knowing what to look for, and then look and feel. Just look or just feel is not enough. You have to go for both. Then suppose I see that there is something, or I feel that there is something, what I do next, and most importantly, I rush to my doctor. He or she may be a physician, gynec. Usually ladies, in my part of the country at least, prefer going to a lady. So, we get a chance to see these patients, and then we do the clinical examination. Along with the clinical examination, ultrasound and FNAC. I go a lot for FNAC because these are the modality. Everything depends upon where you stay, how much you can do. And then the rest of it. Mammogram routinely is not always available in our parts. So routinely we cannot do. Now, I had said at the very beginning, I cater the population who are socioeconomically weak and poor literacy. But then again, now, the very important question of mammogram, yes, mammogram, no. What happens is, ladies who are literate, having some jobs, but they fail to understand the importance, or maybe they neglect. I think we ladies always do that. We rush and do everything for our family, then rush and do everything for the job we have. And in the process, we tend to neglect ourselves. So this is a very important point, that it is not only the people who do not know what is what, it is also for the people who are aware that we have to do and we don't do. And mammography, as Dr. Gogoi has rightly pointed out, we cannot reach out to 130 crore people maybe, but at least we'll be very happy to the ladies if they come for a regular checkup. I understand certain parts of my country, people are very much aware, they are doing as much as they can. But in my part of the country, they are not so much aware. And those who are aware and those who can afford to also a mammogram, kindly do come to us. We are always ready to help you. Maybe we're fewer in number. Doctors are very less compared to the population. I wouldn't go into statistics at all. But again and again, what happens is, we have seen that most of the ladies present with lump. Now, another very important thing which I would like to share is what I get in my day-to-day practice. And people very well know, suppose a school teacher, she had come to me, she used to come to me regularly, but suddenly, for various reasons, she used to come to me. Anyway, one day she comes and she says, ma'am, for last almost a year, I had this small lump, and I was having some homeopathy treatment. See, I have due respect for all modes of treatment. It's not so. But what I mean to say here is, so then when and then this morning, this has something like, like the rupture or something, like it's bursted or something, and there is a mucopurulent discharge. So then I asked her, you didn't even consult anyone, you didn't come to me. She said, ma'am, that's what, like I was very scared. So see, this is the taboo. We are so scared. We're scared to go to a doctor. So she was consulting someone who did his level best maybe, but those tests were not done, which were very important. So then and there, I got that biopsy done and everything, whatever had to be done. And then she was diagnosed as a carcinoma. Of course, I'm very happy that she had her mastectomy done in Thakurpukur, Kolkata Cancer Institute. And then it's at least 10 years now, and she visits me on and off for various reasons. But she has been safe, but it may not be the same for all. So this is another very important thing in many parts of India, that we avoid going to the doctor. If we go to the doctor, she'll be writing a battery of tests, and then let us wait and see. Now, another very important point which I want to point out is, in many other cases, quite a few cases in my so many years of experience as a gynecologist, when they come, they present with the lump. Somehow they come and then they present, see something is there. So when I ask them, for how long are you observing this? Maybe 4 months, I'm not sure, maybe 6 months, they are not even sure. And then why didn't you come? Then the answer, which pains me, is, it was not painful. So what I get to understand, unless it is painful, people don't rush to the doctor. They don't feel the necessity. A lump is there, a hard lump, so what? It's not painful. It's not causing me any problem. So I don't go. So self-examination along with, like these taboos or these sort of awareness. It's not only the examination part which I want to insist on. Of course, self-examination is for us the only goal to prevent. But along with it, we need to discuss with them and to tell them why self-examination is important, and why, even if it's not painful, the lumps, what do the lumps mean? So it's not that everyone is not behaving in this manner, but it's a huge portion who have still, they still we need to reach out to them, as Dr. Lopa is doing. And I'm very proud of her that she has taken this upon herself. Yes, in her family, her cousins do keep on teasing her. You run from here to there when you get back. But I do appreciate her running about, and she's trying her level best. And I assure you, Lopa, that I'm there with you in whatever way I can. And please do spread the message along with that self-examination that going to a doctor is also, as I said, first know your breast, then know what to look for, and then look and feel, and then please consult your doctor. That is very important. The rest of it, the mammogram and etc., will automatically come. Sonography or mammogram or FNAC or incisional biopsy, whatever has to be done, that is the secondary part. But the first initial part, if we do, a huge proportion of ladies can be saved. And I really want to congratulate each and every one of you who have so bravely fought, and you all have given me a lesson. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. That was amazing. You spoke about your experiences, bringing into limelight all the challenges that you face, so that we, whoever we are spreading the word, we make it our, add to the on our list what we need to convince. And yeah, definitely I try to always push everyone. The moment you feel it, you need to report to your doctor. And the villages we have adopted, like those villages also, we are struggling because even at this COVID scenario, they are like, we don't want to go to the hospital at Kachar Cancer Hospital because what if we are tested positive, we will be hibernated over there, right? So those fear, and how much we are struggling, we know, but we are trying our best. And I'm so thankful to Dr. Gogoi, to you from Northeast India for the support I'm getting, and nothing we can do alone. So it's always like, when we come together, we can definitely, at least, each drop of water in the ocean it's kind of like each step is a success for us, right? And thank you for bringing out and I know after talking to you in 2018, I always bring it up, painless or painful lump, please do not ignore. And that's one of the agenda when I'm doing the sessions or the screening in the remote areas or even in the urban India also. And I always keep that in mind, as you had suggested to me earlier. Thank you so much. And very nicely presented by each of our speakers. Everyone's story was different. And that's why, I brought everyone together, because I know each story will make a difference. And we have recorded the session. So and I'm going to send it to like almost 100 who signed up, so that at least, if I know like people will come and listen when someone they know is facing it. At that time, this makes a difference, because otherwise we have this inertia. Why do we even have to go for a cancer seminar? And that is the problem. We don't want to be proactive. We just take everything on ourselves when we are detected. And as rightly said, whenever I go, so one incident is that in India, even in the urban India, if I ask, when did you last do your mammogram? 5 years back. Even the realization that mammogram is not like a one-time thing, that those are the instances. And I'm so amazed that the women we have here from India on our panel, and how proactive you all are. So you all are examples for others, and you all are teaching others that how important early detection is, breast self-exam, doing a screening mammogram after 40, and advocating if you have dense breast, and you can go for an ultrasound. And of course, keep our doctors in the loop. And homeopathy, as you mentioned, Dr. Bhattacharya, I know Dr. Nandini, you mentioned to deal with the side effects of homeopathy. And I have met, even in Assam, women who said she felt a lump for 1 year, she did homeopathy, and then it advanced to stage 3 from stage 1. So she could have, homeopathy, Ayurveda, they are not going to cure cancer. You have to take out the tumor, you have to finish your conventional treatment, and then definitely you can do, homeopathy once you're like the proper homeopathic. But managing the side effects with homeopathy is totally fine. But what I'm saying is that do not make it your primary treatment regime, because of that, we are losing so many women and men to different type of cancers in India. And when they reach out to me, they're mostly like stage 4, because they did full like 1 year of Ayurveda because they were scared of the chemo treatment. A lot of women said their hair will fall, but no one tells them that, your hair will grow back once you finish the treatment. You will get more beautiful hair than before. So that is my request also to all the doctors, oncologists, gynecologists, like, to be more transparent and translate this information, because sometimes, talking really helps. That assurance helps, that what are the side effects, because no one talks with the patients like in many hospitals, they reach out to me, the patients, they say, madam, like they're telling me my mom's hair will fall, my mom will have blisters in the mouth. Is it true now she doesn't want to do chemo? But then the survivor stories help. We have posted the survivor stories on our website, and even in local language. If someone is reaching out to me from Bangalore, I share the language Kannada. So what happens is the moms, the grandparent moms who do not understand English, but someone in Kannada is saying, I'm cancer free, I'm so brave, I'm a changed person now. Then they come back to me and they tell me now she wants to do the treatment. So that is the power of the stories. What we cannot do, I cannot do as a scientist, the oncologist cannot do as a, in the professional level, but the survivors, the warriors, they can change and motivate. And I think that's why I always say in Breast Cancer Hub, our survivors, our warriors, our patients are the real heroes. And that's why you are the stars of Breast Cancer Hub. Saying that, I would like to end the discussions, but we have our session was for 1.5 hours and we exactly completed it on time, but we can take few questions if our, honored oncologist and gynecologists and our honored speakers are still up to it for another 5 minutes to stay on, and so that we can open up the panel for questions, which will be more on the translational level from the experience point of view. Because if you want to hear more from the diagnosis to management, we already covered it on our first seminar, which was on 4th October, and on our YouTube channel is already posted. So it's more on the technical side of the treatment side, clinical trial side. You can definitely go and watch all our speakers speak about it. So, but then on the other side, any questions today, please unmute yourself, because I don't see any questions on the chat room. And as Peggy has already sent the link, so we also have it on our BCH website. Peggy has it on MBCC website, all the BSc cards in the local languages. Please download and share on your network. And we are open for another 5 minutes for questions. And if you can unmute yourself and ask our honored speaker. Thank you.
I have a suggestion for Anindita because she has concern, it's a real concern for her daughter. I think, Anindita, you are in touch with a genetic cancer counselor. You can definitely reach back to them and get support for future planning. What else can be done? How to plan for the next days? May not be now, but when to start. And counselor is going to help you definitely.
Yes. And to add, thank you so much, Dr. Gogoi, to bring this up. And Anindita, we also have on our Breast Cancer Hub a very young genetic counselor, Ashna, and I'm always definitely I'm on top of it. I'm mentoring as she's amazing. So I can connect you with her so that we can discuss further. And of course, I'm there. So whatever help you need, for sure. Any questions from our participants? You can unmute yourself and ask our speakers.
Well, so Dr. Lopez, this is Peggy from Male Breast Cancer Coalition. Just want to thank you for being so diligent to bring all these different languages where we can bring the cards together. It has helped so many in the world when they find our links to know the proper way to do a self-exam, not only for women, but for men. It is so important that this is done monthly. Majority of our men find their lumps, get to a doctor, and most doctors don't know about men and breast cancer, but the reality is if you have breast tissue, you can get breast cancer. And this is what we need to do to change the entire world, because when Bret went to several doctors at the early age of 17, we were told it was calcium, he was becoming a man. Well, I don't blame the medical professionals, because they're learning just like all of us are learning. The world is finally realizing this can happen. So again, we thank you, Dr. Lopa, and all the doctors here for helping us to help change the world, because that's what it's going to do.
Thank you, Peggy. And I mean, if I don't see the blue in the ribbon, I go crazy. So, those who know me, or even the ambassadors of breast cancer, we have amazing ambassadors now from India, from US, and they know that, like how important the blue color is for us now. And they all are advocating, spreading the word on LinkedIn, and I'm so proud of them for
Yeah. I also want to add here, yes, I'm realizing at the moment when very rarely we get a male breast cancer. We do not, rightly Peggy is saying that we do not have a separate questionnaire for male breast cancer. I mean, maybe I'll be taking support from you to prepare that questionnaire. We are really in a puzzle what to ask and what to write down.
Yes.
Because all questionnaire that is related to female.
Yeah.
Female
I'll
have this
send you the
reproductive
one.
questions.
HCA Midwest Hospitals here in the United States, which is globally the Sarah Cannon Cancer Institute. And if anybody doesn't know who Sarah Cannon was, she was the country singer Minnie Pearl, who started the Cancer Institutes because she herself was a survivor. And the bottom line is that they have joined with us and created a new questionnaire for men. I will be more than happy to share that to Lopa that she can get it to you.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'll be looking forward for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll definitely. That's why, you know, that's how we should be all coming together, right? All across the globe. Then we can make a change in the system at the grassroots level. Yes. And I think Anindita has a question. Anindita? Yes.
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to make an observation. I get to meet a lot of breast cancer patient, and for women it is bad, it's a taboo. For men it is, in India it's horrible. I can tell you, when I was going through my chemotherapy treatment, they have separate rooms, and every that morning, 9 o'clock, I used to come with me, another gentleman. He was probably in his 70s. He used to come, and we used to get the rooms where they would start the chemo. And while going back, we would also go back almost at the same time, finish at the same time, and go share the elevator. And once he was asking me, what has happened to you? And I told him I have breast cancer. And when I asked him, what about you? He couldn't answer me. He just looked at his wife, cancer, and said, and went away. And unfortunately, he could not complete his chemotherapy because I think he was losing weight too much and he had certain complications. Much later, I came to know that he was suffering from breast cancer. Just imagine what kind of situation he was in, that he couldn't even say what kind of cancer he was suffering from. It's so terrible for them. I think the taboo is much, much more in India.
Yeah. Very, very much so. And Dr. Lopa, I shared with you, we were getting a young gentleman this last week on the backside of our coalition who actually is from India, 31 years old, and wanted to be able to talk to Bret, but with the time difference and everything, I couldn't connect him. But I said, Dr. Lopa is from India. She understands your country better than anyone. So hopefully he finally reached out to you, because I sent him all the information.
Oh, I haven't heard, because the moment I get any email, I immediately respond, and I do one-on-one also with everyone who is reaching out to me. But I haven't, Peggy. Maybe.
Okay, I will check again, because it's on Facebook, our private Facebook page. But he is so distraught.
Maybe on email, Peggy, or message, because I'm not. So that would be great. And as Anindita said, so rightly said, Anindita, someone from Nepal reached out to me. His senior in the school committed suicide at very young age because he was detected with breast cancer. So for men, it's worse than women, because men think it's a woman's disease. And also I have heard like stories where, like the kids also, make fun, because it's kind of like they are ashamed to tell that their dad has breast cancer, because it means that, breast means only the woman should be having that. But and one more, in Chennai, when I went last year, one man came to me, he came for his sister. But then when he heard the session, he came to me and he told me, can you touch my nipple? And I touched, it was like, that's just like marble rolling under his nipple. And it was a family history for him. And he had no idea till then that, it could be breast cancer for him also. So I think it's very important that we equally, spread out the word that men need to do that. And that's why we have it, right? One side, I think we are the first ones, Peggy, to have it together for women and for men. And this is really working to break the taboo also for equally for men and equally for women. Because when I show wherever I go, you all have seen Bret and everyone in Male Breast Cancer Coalition, Patricia, Marlene's picture, the slide I always have, because that changes when they see the male breast cancer survivors. That kind of it builds in the mind. And I think one way to make a change is talk about the stories, because in India, the places where I go, it becomes impactful because I'm showing the reality. Because many hospitals, they told me they don't even tell that you come for a cancer awareness program. We shouldn't be doing that. We should bring the people for the awareness program, talk about the reality, what happens next. If we can lose moms, we can lose men to breast cancer, then I think the impact is more fearful. They really take it and take it. Because trust me, I'm having every day, like so many emails. They feel a lump, they reach out, what to do next. Then I navigate them towards the healthcare center. At least we know, do a follow-up. So it is, it may be like not like 1,000 emails I'm getting, but I'm getting regularly 2, 3, 4 emails. Wherever I have done the sessions, they have my number, they have my email, they have my contacts, and WhatsApp is free. And I think WhatsApp, because of WhatsApp, I think I am able to run, because with BCH, everything we do is pro bono and voluntary. So, and whatever donations we get, 100% goes for our mission and for our cause. And WhatsApp is really helping, because all the phone calls and everything, it really works. So yeah, thank you. So I think if we all can come together, and we are making a change, and that's all because we are partnering with each other, collaborating with each other. So that's how it is. Yeah. So I think we already are 15 minutes post the time bound, but I just kept this if we have discussions, and it was really nice, the discussions between the speakers, and what Peggy brought up, what Dr. Gogoi shared. And see, Dr. Gogoi, now I think Dr. Bhattacharya, you can also, maybe have the questionnaire for the men, and I can connect both of you. And, from Northeast India, we can start making the change from Assam, that we have a questionnaire for the men, in addition to women, and then other states will learn from us, right? So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I think let's wrap it up with a thank you note to all the participants, who came and who signed up. I'm going to send them the video. And then, of course, the video will be published on our channels and on our social media. Please share it with your network. And thank you so much for the patience. And thank you for being here for the cause of breast cancer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.